when we sent out, I almost was hesitant to send a text out tonight saying that I was the speaker because I thought, man, I'm going to feel really bad. I knew Brent Palmer was going to be on because I guilted him into being here, but I'm thinking Brent's going to be the only one on this call. So thank you for being with us tonight, for even joining, even knowing that I'm going to be the speaker tonight. So I appreciate that. It makes me feel good. I'm going to go to bed tonight and feel really good about myself. So thank you. But to start this call, as you know, this is the A-team call. This is the action team. It's for people who are looking to increase their ability to enroll, overcoming fears, overcoming objections. So many people have come on and have been a guest on this call. And in talking to other people about what we're doing with the A-team call, the amount of people that are like, man, we love that idea that you bring experts from other companies, you bring owners of other companies, you bring, I'm not afraid to bring anybody that's affiliated or associated with another company on this call, because I think we need to help each other to be better. And the more good and positive messages and players there are in this industry, the better we all are. And I know I'm just a competitive SOB. And I think many of you who know me know that I am ultra competitive. I hate to lose at anything. If we're having a walking contest to the corner, I can't stand to lose. So it's like but I'm also a really gracious competitor, and I love the people I compete against. And in many cases, I'm the first one to congratulate them when they win, because to me, it's about the healthy competition. So I love that about this call. But tonight we have a special guest who, I know he hasn't been a part of the organization for a long time, and he can I want him to share his story a little bit, but I saw his name as I was going through the enroller report, and I saw that he had enrolled 17 people in the last 5 weeks, and he was like number 3 or 4 on the top recruiters list. And so I thought, you know what, I need to meet him. I need to have him on the call. I need to have him share a little bit about his story. So Mark Havens, and tell us a little bit where you're from, and then tell us kind of a little bit of, not the long story, but a little bit about yourself, and then why you're excited. What is it about ARIIX and New Age ARIIX that makes you excited?
Well, my name is Mark. I'm from Wichita Falls, Texas. And, I started this about 8 weeks ago. I've been on many diets, and I'm not really that big, just 269, 6 foot tall. And started the skinny drops. I've worked out my whole life, but it doesn't matter how often you work out. It's just how you eat and how you design your diet. And the skinny drops and have just helped big time. Then I got the transfer pack, and just worked on it. And, it gives me the energy to go all day long, but I work out pretty hard, and I'm 64 years old, and all these vitamins that I'm taking make me not hurt again, so I've never lost weight like this before. I'm down about 32 pounds.
Wow.
And I just get on the scales every morning, and I'll go walk about 5:30 every morning, and 2 pounds gone. Where'd it go? I didn't detox. I just cut my sugar down, and it's just an awesome deal. I've been a car salesman for 44 years, so you get to meet a lot of people. And when they seen I was losing weight, everybody, I want that, and who don't want that, and everybody's against everything, so in 44 years of selling cars, I have a lot of trust of this, and it's just like a snowball, and it's been really amazing. I mean, it's really great. I'm, like I said, I was 235. I want to get down to about 200, 210. I don't know. It's just, it's been an amazing route for me. You know, you can sell this stuff, but when people look at you and they say, "Man, how'd you do that?" I say, "Man, I don't know. I just start eating right." You know, everybody needs some help. They really do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been amazing and exciting. You know, when you're 64 years old, there's not a lot of exciting things going on. You know, you get up, you go to bed, and you get up and go to bed. You know, losing weight is it's not easy. You know, it really isn't. It's not easy for nobody. You know, I was at the convention a couple of weeks ago, and people lost 100, 160 pounds and 50 pounds, but you know what the biggest thing about all this is? They're healthy and positive, and that's what we all need.
Mm.
You know, just be positive about anything you do. Um, but I met you. Everybody knew you when you walked in. I met you at the convention, and I was amazed how nice you were. And I've known Whitney for 40 years. I've sold her cars for 40 years.
That's what she said to me. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just they said, "Man, you know people, and you can change a lot of lives," and I think I have.
That's awesome. Well, Mark, congratulations. And it's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. Just
Right.
talk about it and open your mouth and share, something you're passionate about. And so thank you for being on the call tonight. Thanks for sharing your story, and appreciate you being with us tonight, and good luck.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate you.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. So that's kind of what I want to spend some time talking about tonight. I feel really strongly about a couple of things, and what sparked my mind working was Monday's Robert Allen ARIIX success. So I'm going to put it on gallery view. If you're on camera, raise your hand if you were on that call on Monday afternoon. Okay. So Daryl, I'm going to put you on the spot. Is that okay? I'm going to unmute you. Do you remember what the main context of what Robert talked about on Monday afternoon? You want me to give you a spark?
It's about the system.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you send me the 72 hours of the people that were your prospects of deciding on to hot, medium, cold.
Yeah.
And
that's right. It was about the process. Thank you, Daryl. It was about the process or the system that he asked you, what is your process? What is your system? And he went through, and one of the first questions he asked was, how long is the average process take to enroll somebody? And, everybody was coming up with their own opinions about what that was. And, someone was 2 days and some was 2 weeks and, so on. And he gave his experience of being, writing a book about selling, I think it was 50,000 or 40,000 or something like that. It was a pretty good size number. And making that profit in real estate with $1 in a market that you've never been to. And so the publishers or somebody that was writing a review said, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to prove you, and we're going to drop you in San Francisco, which is not an easy city to be plopped into, so to speak. I'm not saying anything negative about San Francisco. I'm just saying it's not a small town. And we're going to plop you there, and here's $1. And if you can't do it, then we're going to write on social media what a fraud you are. So can you imagine that? I mean, first of all, can you imagine the stress, the pressure that must have been in being in that situation? But what I kept saying to myself is, what is your urgency? And I want to start by saying, first of all, before you determine, you can hear my grandkids in the background. It's a sweet sound for me, but it might not be for you. It is a process is great. I mean, it's necessary. And I think that it was an incredible question that was asked, because if you think it takes 2 weeks, then it probably will. If you think it takes 2 hours or 2 days, it probably will. If you think it takes 72 hours, it probably will. You get my point? it's, you know, it's, I'm going to liken it to my wife who's in the other room. And if she hears this, she might come in and hit me. I have always known this, that if she's got 45 minutes to get ready, she'll get ready in 46. If she has 7 minutes to get ready, she'll get ready in 8. It's just a fact. And I say that because we're always a minute late for church. But, you know, it's the urgency we place upon ourselves. What is your urgency? I want that to be the theme of the call tonight. What is, look behind you? Are one of my grandkids behind me? Oh, look out behind you. I want you to think about this. I want you to think about what is your urgency. And I'll go back to a conversation. I might have shared this before. I was actually in Vernon, BC, Deb, and I'm not going to say who I was talking to, but I was talking to someone, and if I describe a couple of things, you'll know exactly who I was talking to. She has a great marriage. She travels quite a bit. She's been a model, an actress, and so on. And she said to me, she said, "Come here a minute." And I said, "Okay, what's up?" And she said, "I'm frustrated." I said, "Why?" She says, "I think I should be doing better." I said, "Well, I think you should too." But I said, "You know, can I be honest with you?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "You know what? You have an incredible life." I'm sure she wouldn't mind me sharing this because it's a compliment to her, but you have an incredible life. You've got a wonderful marriage. You guys are making enough money where you can travel whenever you want and go see your kids and grandkids. I said, maybe your frustration is that you're frustrated that you're happy, and maybe you feel guilty about being happy and content. And maybe you really don't want to do anything different, but you see other people that are maybe less talented than you, and maybe that's what's giving you frustration. But in actuality, you don't really want to do anything differently. And she looked at me and she just went, huh, kind of like that. And I said, really, give me a hug. Let's, you know, this is, don't be frustrated because somebody else wants to do more than you are and you're happy or contented. If you're happy and contented, or things are going well, you don't need any more money. You don't really, you know, your health is okay. And maybe you're using this for the products and everything's fine the way they are. Embrace it. Love it. Say, you know, I mean, stand out on the street corner, say, I am happy. I'm content. This is where I want to be. And don't be frustrated about and making a change. But I'm guessing that the reason why most of you are on the call tonight is that's not where you are. So what is your urgency? What is it going to take for you to wake up tomorrow morning and be so either frustrated with where you are or motivated to where you want to be, that's going to cause you to do something different? Make something happen differently in your life. This has been really weighing on me because I've had moments in my life where my motivation is so high. Let me restate that. My motivation is so high that I wake up in the morning and I am just on fire and I can't be stopped. And I'm sure that you've had conversations with me when that I've been like that. And it's just like, I feel like I'm on a roll and I'm excited. Most of the time it's like that right now because I see where we are. And then there's other times where I wake up and it's all I can do to wake up. And I've made a commitment to myself physically to, and this came from Duke. Duke Tupton was on one of these A-team calls. And it was at the first of the year. And I don't know if you remember this. It only took me 6 months after that to make a change myself. So trust me, when I'm talking tonight, I'm talking to myself. There's a mirror over here that I'm talking to. When he talked about getting up he was either 4:30 or 5 every day. I don't know if you remember that conversation, but it weighed really heavy on me. I am not a morning person. And about a month ago, I was talking to my neighbor who's in the Army or has been in the Army, and he has served 5 deployment tours. And he said to me as we were talking, he said, you know, I'm starting to get up a lot earlier in the morning, because I've got this goal to get back to discipline myself. And I said, what time do you get up? And he said 4:15. And I'm like, you know, I said, I'm like, I could never get up at 4:15, nor would I have any motivation to get up at 4:15. And I said, what do you do at that time? He says, I get up and I have a cup of coffee and I read. And I'm like, can you keep your eyes open? And then he says, and then I go walk. And I said, what time do you go walk? And he said, about 5. And then a switch hit. And I said, okay, do you want a walking partner? And he said, sure. And I said, tomorrow, 5 o'clock, I'll be there. And I have, other than my vacation that I took last week with my wife, I have not missed a day. And I don't love, trust me, I do not love getting up in the morning. At 5 o'clock, I have that same debate, even now, after a month of do you really want to get up? And you know, the only motivator is, and I knew it would be, is that I knew he'd be sitting on his front porch steps. And he would still go walking. And he would be no less off if I wasn't there. But I made a personal commitment. And I made that personal commitment to somebody else because it created a different urgency in my heart. And so I'm telling you this because it's a transition I've gone through. Now, about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I am a piece of noodle. You know, I'm just, I need my second wind, which you can tell I have. But at 5 o'clock, I'm up, I go walking, I come back, I'm reading. I answered one of Brent's emails at 6:20 this morning, and I think it just about shocked the crap out of him. But my mind is working differently, and I created a different set of urgency for myself. Now, most of you know I'm excited. I am so excited about where we are as a company. I'm so excited about where you are and where you can be if you choose to be. But I'm asking you the question, I'll ask this multiple times. What is your urgency? I've told many of you about our son and how he suffered 14 years of addiction, and it was just hell that our family went through. And one of the rehabs that we went through, we learned this process. When the pain of recovery becomes less than the pain of addiction, that's when you will make a change. How can you attribute that to your life today? When the pain of success becomes less than the pain of poverty, the pain of frustration, the pain of living from paycheck to paycheck, the pain of however you want to attribute that to yourself. Mine was a physical goal when it came to getting up earlier. I didn't think I could do it. When Duke said that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's you. It must be easier for you to get up than me. That's my justification. It worked for 6 months, actually 8 months. But the reality is we need to make those shifts in our life where we think, are we happy? Are we contented where we are? And if we are, embrace that. Again, that's why I started with that. But if you're not, what is it going to take for you to create that urgency? What is it in your life that you need to be able to overcome? And I'm going to talk about something pretty sensitive right now, but I want you to consider this. And this is something that literally we could be having an 8-hour deal on, and this is going to be like an 8-minute thing. So it's the Reader's Digest. Debbie, I know you know what the Reader's Digest is. Those of us that are old enough to know that. The Reader's Digest version, Lonnie, I know you are. The Reader's Digest version of this is about 8 minutes. So many of you know that my hobby is studying human behavior. I love, there's something about human behavior and where the motivation comes from that just fascinates me. And if I could go back to my 14-year-old self, I would just smack me across the head and said, you need to get into human behavior, psychology, or something like that, because it's fascinating to me. And what I do is I try to look and talk, as I talk to people, I try to understand what is that motivator. And I don't mean motivator like what gets you motivated. I'm talking about motivated, the motivation behind specific behavior. And part of that study is in the stories that we create most of the time when we're young, but sometimes as we're growing up, to protect the child within us. And it's usually from some sort of an event or series of events that have happened. There's been many, many studies of battered women or abused children or many, many different types of horrible behavior. And there's been many, many studies about the repeat of those behaviors as they get older, even though they've sworn they would never do anything like that. It's just a repeated behavior because there are stories that are created to protect the child within from the pain of those experiences. Think about that for a minute. So the stories are not facts. The stories are not, they're not real. They're stories. They're things that we have created and surrounded ourselves to protect that child within us from those events that have caused us pain. I'm going to give one that's less painful. I'm sure that there's somebody on this call that is shy today because in second grade, they stood up to answer a question and either a classmate or a teacher said, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I mean, I know that's a kind of a small thing, but I know that there's someone on this call that has experienced that. And so the story that you create to protect that small child within you is that I cannot be outspoken because outspoken people just get made fun of. And then the bigger story is I'm just a shy person. When in actuality, none of us are born with that trait. All of us are born as children of one maker that with excellence and with godliness as in ourselves. It's the events that happen that drag us down, that cause us pain, that creates those stories. And so without, getting into and all of us lying on a couch and asking the questions, I want you to ask yourself the question, what are the stories, not what's the truth, what are the stories that are holding me back from really stepping out on the shyness, the insecurity, the lack of belief, all of the things because none of those things are real. Anybody that says, I'm not confident, that's a story that you have created to protect something in your past. I guarantee you that that's the truth. Now, I'm not a psychologist. I haven't been trained in this area, but you know what? I've worked with people all over the world for years and years. And I consider, it's like the line from the movie or from the TV commercial. I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. I'm certainly not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist, but I've made it a life study and hobby to study behavior. And I promise you that the most of us, what holds us back is not a real thing. There are stories that we have created. And so I just want you to think about a couple of things. What is your urgency? And what is that story that you just need to unburden yourself with? I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy to call to unburden yourself. And that puts us in a whole different relationship that's probably not going to be healthy moving forward. So I'm saying, find somebody, find a mentor, find a loved one, find somebody. If there was an event where someone harmed you in any way, it could have been as small. When I say small, I don't mean insignificant. I just mean it could be as small as somebody said something mean to you when you were 5 years old or 8 years old or 10 years old. And you've let that because you've let that create the stories that protected you from that hurt. Find that person and just say, I forgive you. You'll be amazed at how that unburdens you from some of that. So some of it's much deeper than that. And I'm not qualified to address that, but I'm just suggesting, think about it, because every one of you could be, wow. Yeah. And it's somebody just said, I remember the exact day that broke my spirit. Wow. Man. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I think most of us can. And that's, thank you. But honestly, that's the only thing that's holding most of you back, because we are all greatness. We are all as I said, my belief, children of one maker that has made us in his image, that in his or her image, pardon me, that has blessed us with greatness. And we've just lost our way. And as I heard Robert talk about that this on Monday, that became so clear to me that we need to unburden ourselves, no matter what our age is, from some of those stories and put ourselves in a position where we can create that urgency in our own life. Because the other thing I can truly promise you is that you are the only thing holding you back from greatness. It's not somebody else. It's not the it isn't anyone else. It's you, and you have that within you. No matter how you feel today, no matter how frustrated, no matter how broken your spirit feels, it truly is within your spirit, within your heart, within your soul to be able to overcome that. And all of the tools, because when anybody comes on this call and says, "Well, I just share this video," the first thing someone wants to say is, "Oh my gosh, what's that magic video?" And what does the video say? What does it do? It's like, it doesn't matter. There is no magic video. There's no, it's not like bippity boppity video that is going to be allow you to all of a sudden say the right thing, because you cannot say the wrong thing to the right person. And as Robert said, there's a percentage of people that are praying to find this message. They don't know what it looks like. They don't know what it is called, but they're on their knees today praying to get out of their current situation. And those percentage of people, you cannot say the wrong thing. You can't show them the wrong video. There is no right thing or right video. It's this. It's hello. It's opening up your mouth and sharing it with anyone else. And so the second piece of this that I wanted to, and hopefully you can feel where I'm coming from on this. I'm not being judgmental. I'm not being accusatory or anything. I believe so strongly in each one of you. As I saw your faces and we were able to hug in Texas, and it made me a believer in so many of you. And I can point to little moments over the weekend that I watched you, and I'm very observant. I watched many of you interact, and you, with such ease, you approach somebody that matters to you, and you hug them, and you say it with such grace and dignity. And yet, if you walked out the front door to try to talk to a stranger, you would be, it just, you need to have that same confidence in yourself that others recognize in you as you walk out the door and talk to a complete stranger. And I witnessed that with many of you over the weekend, and it was a safe place. And so, of course, Dr. Sue could walk up to Daryl and say, "Daryl, I've seen you on the calls. I love you." And it's not uncomfortable. It's not even, it's very natural. From the convention center and have that same belief to a complete stranger is where that breakdown is. And so that's why I wanted to share that tonight. That was the first piece of it. The second piece of it is more where we are. And I want to share with you, and I don't have it completely memorized, so I'm going to share with you the company vision. And you don't need to, this will be recorded, you can pull it up, plus this is going to be in print. And it may not be exactly this, because I think that we're still molding it, but this is New Age ARIIX. I want you to feel that for a minute, which is really cool. Our vision is to become the world's leading social selling and distribution company. The way that we will achieve that is to build a portfolio of superior brands in 3 platforms, including health and wellness, healthy appearance, and nutritional performance through our omni-channel route to market. Now, again, that isn't the most emotionally driven vision, but it will be. And so I want you to think about that. Just the world's leading social selling and distribution network, channel, company, however you want to language that. The world's leading social selling and distribution company. A lot of times we get caught up, and when I say we, I mean as a company, we get caught up in look how great we're doing, look how big we're getting, and that's exciting for us, and it should be for you. And I know that there's some people, probably some on this call, that when you hear the company's now 550 million and moving to 600 million, and there were well, I can't officially say this. There, as Brent would say, I can't confirm or deny that we had 2 other acquisitions this week. I believe that we are going to finish this year somewhere around 600 million or more. And some of you are going, well, that's great, but I live in a small town. How does that bless me? How does that affect me? And the greatest thing that I can attribute, first of all, now that we're public, you have a chance to influence the outcome of the company as well as benefit from the outcome of the company. And that's a big deal. If you buy shares in stock and the company's stock does what USANA stock did over a period of time, then this is not a guarantee. It's not, I'm not telling you this is what the stock's going to perform at, but this is what happened with USANA. $1,000 invested in USANA was worth 100 grand because it 100 times over. So think of what 10,000 or 50,000 would have looked like. 100, 1,000, times over. So again, you can't make those kind of guarantees or assurances or anything because stock, every stock follows its own pathway. But if the same management team is there to guide the future of the company and the potential is there to do that, then of course you can benefit from the outcome. If you invest $100 today, $10 today, then if the company multiplies even similar to that, then you certainly can make, there's another one plugged in. Another one and so that's one way, but there's an energy, and most of you have heard me talk about this, okay? An energy that's associated with momentum that is not only undeniable, but everyone can participate in. And what I mean by that, when 2 years ago, when, hey, Lonnie, I'm going to put you on the spot too. I'm going to unmute you here. Two years ago when Nucerity, 2.5 years ago now, really, when Nucerity and oh, hold on, I'm unmuting you, so don't touch anything. When Nucerity and ARIIX came together, how come it's not unmuting? Oh, there you go. So we all came together 2.5 years ago, how many people that you came across had ever heard of ARIIX?
None.
Yeah.
We know.
Even in the industry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not just random people. I mean, in industry people. 2.5 years ago, didn't know, maybe had heard the name and thought, oh, are they still in business? I mean, that might have been their first comment. But there certainly wasn't an energy surrounding the name ARIIX 2.5 years ago. Lonnie and David certainly recognized what the future of ARIIX was going to look like, and that's why they determined to partner with them. And I won't put words in your mouth, Lonnie, but I'm assuming that was how things were.
Yeah, obviously the first time that we met with Fred and saw his vision, David and I walked outside and we're talking, and I said, you know what? We don't need to talk anymore because I want to be on whatever team he's on. And that was really the start of it. And the vision and everything he said, the company did more than what he said it would do, which spoke volumes for David and myself. And I think where we're at right now, to echo what you were saying, in fact, I was about to send you a text when you were talking about 100,000. $1 billion. I think this is probably the most exciting time the company's been in, and for everybody's on here, you kind of touched on a couple little things about, with the future, with who our competition is and where it's going to be. The things that the company is setting up are going to be so magical that no one can touch us. And everybody just needs to keep focusing on what they're doing and take action, massive action.
Yeah.
And I liked what Rick you said about really whatever happened to you in the past or any fears that you need to overcome. Now's the time that your belief is so strong that you overcome those, because you want to be in this like you cannot understand. And people that you know and that you touch, whatever you need to do to convince them to be in this, they need to be in it. I mean, this is the greatest timing for this, like the company, the stock, and everything, because what's happening in the whole world. So if you want to buy some stock, you're never going to find a better time to do that right now.
Even though we can't give any assurance or we can't tell you to go out and do it.
No, true.
But you're right. You're absolutely right.
I, I, can only tell
Yeah.
you I can only tell you what I've done. I certainly have. I've continued to buy it down.
Yeah.
And Rick was a stockbroker. He knows all the rules. I don't, so I can just plead ignorance.
Lonnie, thank you. And that's perfect. Again, it's an energy. It's a different energy. My point was 2.5 years ago, very few people in the industry knew what ARIIX was up to. In fact, the comment was, oh, they're still in business. Oh, that's nice. Today, we are getting phone calls every day from companies, from leaders in the field. In fact, I was on a call yesterday with Brent and a prospective leader. And Brent said, I would imagine there's probably about 100,000, not 100, 100,000 leaders across the globe that are looking right now at ARIIX. Now, I don't know about you, but that kind of gets me excited. Most of those are coming through other leaders. In fact, almost all of them. That's something that's your skill set. That's your opportunity. There are 25 companies right now on Brent's board that all code names. So if you sneak in there, you won't know who that is, that are either in discussions or we've approached or have been approached or have approached us. This is not when I say that this is a window of opportunity, and I'm not talking about a window like on a cruise ship that's about this big. I'm talking about a big window, like a big glass window that that you can run through. Well, maybe not a glass window if you're going to run through it, but you know what I'm saying. So it's a big window of opportunity, and I can't necessarily say how long that's going to be the same, but right now it is amazing. I'm not going to ask Darlene to say anything, but I had a call with her this morning, and it was with the same group of people that we talked to a year ago. The difference was we talked to them today, and I know that energy played a big role in this. They said, how do we get started? A year ago, it's like, well, okay. And then a week ago, they're like, oh, I thought we did. Now it's, what do we need to do to get started? That's the difference. And I'm not talking about a big leader. I'm talking about just the average person, the conversations that you have now because of the energy that's being created by our company at the highest levels with conversations in the industry. That is a specific energy that can benefit you today, but only if you do what Alani said. So I have a lot to say, but that kind of suffices what I wanted to get the point I wanted to get across. I wanted to share the vision of the company with you. The reason why I followed this path tonight and started with what is your urgency and what are those stories that are holding you back, and then a vision of where we're going and the energy of where we are today is, I'm going to echo exactly what Lonnie said. There has never been a better time for you to overcome those, to step out of that comfort zone, to put yourself, whatever you need to do to identify, because the stories a lot of times to break them is just identifying and not giving them energy anymore. Now is the time to do that, because the energy that you share tomorrow morning with whoever you talk to, and whatever tone you want to take, or whatever, if you want to say, you know what, I was on a call and I heard the company vision last night and I'm so excited, or I was in a conference 2 weeks ago and I'm still buzzing over this conference in Texas, or I was on a call. I know on one of the teams tonight had skincare training on it. There's calls all during the week. You can refer to whatever you want to. Again, there's not a right or wrong thing to refer to. Just find a way to identify and move through so that you can truly take advantage of the energy that's there today and the vision of where we're going. USANA, when their stock started, was in the cents. We happen to be $1.80-ish or dollar whatever it is. I don't even look at it every day. I'm a stockholder. I bought it higher than it is now, and believe it or not, I don't look at it every day because I don't care. What matters to me is where we're going to be in 5 and 10 years from now. So I don't care if it goes down or up every day. I really don't. I know some people do. They're like freaking out. It's like, I bought it 10 cents higher. Ah! Anyway, so, which I bought it a lot higher. But the reality is, if you really want to embrace it and take advantage of it and be available to bring that into your life, USANA started, it was in the cents. It was like 6.50 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents. I don't even remember how much. And it split 3 times, and the company did not get higher than 600 million before Mark and Fred and everybody left. They've been a 1.5 billion since then, and now they're down to closer to $1 billion again, or maybe a little more, a little less. I don't know for sure. This company, our goal, with a strategic business plan, will be a $2.4 billion company in 3 years. Just imagine what difference that could make in your life and your family's life. That's the message of tonight's call. What is your urgency? What is it going to take to move through whatever stories or challenges you're facing so that you individually, and I could go through and name all 123 of you if I had the time or you did, and say, what is it going to take to get you to move into that space where you can truly, truly take advantage of it? And I challenge you, before you go to bed tonight, if you're a praying person, pray for that wisdom. If you're not, think about it, ponder on it. Whatever your source of personal strength, wherever it comes from, I challenge you to tap into that tonight, tomorrow morning, figure that out. Because I promise you, and I promise the person who was brave enough to write that in the chat, that you can do this. And when you do this, you will experience something like you never have experienced before. That's the opportunity that's been presented to us. And I couldn't be more honored and more excited to get up in the morning, 5 o'clock, and be a part of it. So with that, I will end the call. Let me stop the recording.